Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the sixth tutorial of MuslimahLoc. Here we'll learn exactly how the history of dreadlocks, better known today as locks, came about and how it has evolved. That answer led me to a journey in history. Well, the ancient Egyptians were able to provide clear evidence that locks existed even then. The artifacts that showed were of pictures of hair being locked. Also, when they went and dug up some of the mummified ancient Egyptians' tombs, they were able to see that some of the Egyptians' hair were actually locked. The Old Testament was also another proof that locks existed during its time. There is a story of Samson and Delilah, for those that remember. The tale of Samson and Delilah talks about locks, in which a man's potency, his strength, is directly linked to the 7 locks on his head. Several cultures wore locks in the earlier ages. Just to name a few: Now, I found that the history of the Sadus was the most interesting of all when it comes to locks. This is where the term dreadlocks began. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The Sadus were imported into the West Indies as indentured servants in the 1930s. The culture is of Hindu mystics. They resided in the north region of India. It has been written that they influenced the Rastafarian movement, beliefs and practices, dreadlocks, smoking of marijuana as a healer, etc. Something to know, the Rasta used a book called the Bible, such as Leviticus and Deuteronomy, about dread and sets rules for life, which is something that they adhere to. But the Sadducees does not at all. In fact, they do the total opposite when it comes to standards and values from the Bible. In fact, Sadducees don't bind to them at all, which I felt kind of takes away a little from the history that's been written. Now, there is another version to the Rastafarian lock story, and it goes like this. When Ras Tafari was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia in the 1930s, a new culture was born, better known as the Rastafarians. But then the emperor was forced into exile during an invasion. The guerrilla warriors swore not to ever cut their hair until the emperor was reinstated. Now, this was seen as a major threat to Christianity, and something very sad happened. Rastafarians came under attack by the authorities, who tried to suppress the Rastas and the Rasta movements and imprison those who possessed something known as ganja. So as you can see clearly, there's two versions to the Rastafarians' story on how Locs came about. But it doesn't stop here. And I felt that this was really important to touch on because not too many people know that Locs come before Rastafarians. Locs were there before the Sadhus. Locs were there since the beginning of time. It is important that you know this. Assalamu alaikum.